I came to SHOT Show 2016 in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I asked people this question.
What is your favorite childhood memory of being in the outdoors?
I suppose it'd be rabbit hunting with my dad.
Probably when I was bear hunting with my dad.
I think it's lighting a campfire with my dad with gasoline.
My dad teaching me how to shoot when I was about 9 years old.
When I was young, going out and fishing with my pops, Lake Erie.
When I was a young kid, we would go out rabbit hunting with him. We'd take shotguns, you just go out and get to spend that time with my dad hunting and things while we still had him. It was a lot of fun, I remember that well.
Being frightened of the height of the flames and taking my Hot Wheels and my pillow across the creek from the campsite, just in case the camp should burn down.
Gave me a .357 Magnum Smith & Wesson revolver, and it taught me how to shoot it, yeah.
Catching smallmouth bass, and just spending like a weekend or a week camping with Pops.
It was about 35 degrees, kind of a rain, snow, slush mix. I'd been hiking all day long. I was probably 9 years old, and I wasn't happy. My feet were freezing, by the way. That's one of the things I was complaining about. And my dad kept saying, just a little bit further, just a little bit further. And it wasn't a little bit further. We were hiking miles in. I slipped and I fell, and I split my finger open. And at that point, I was really frustrated, and I wasn't happy with the whole experience, and I started to cry. And my dad took me aside, and he put my cold feet on his belly. So he lifted his shirt, and he warmed me up, and he dressed up my wounds. He was a huge role model. He was a hard guy. He was an outdoorsy guy, but he had that tender side, and he loved his children. And on that experience, it showed me how much he loved his boys, and it stuck with me. That was my favorite outdoor memory ever.
Hunting and fishing with my father. He's the one that introduced me into the outdoors at a very young age.
Every day after school, he'd pick me up. We'd go fishing at the local lake or on the waterfront. We never caught anything, but it was really good just spending time with my dad, you know, putting bait back on the line.
Every time my dad came back from being overseas, we would pretty much start every one of his vacations with us going literally into the outdoors, up into the mountains, camping.
Hunting squirrels with my grandfather.
I went on a squirrel hunt with my old man.
It would probably be when I shot my first elk.
Probably hunting with my grandpa over the years.
Just that time to spend with you know, with a family member out in the woods and just walking through and hunting. So my favorite memory is hunting in the outdoors with my grandfather.
Went out with my dad and my little brother, rode horses in a long ways, and were able to get up early and get out there and able to shoot an elk. Me and my dad both got one, and just turned into being a really good day and had a lot of fun.
I laid there against a tree and held on a bead where I thought these squirrels were going to come the whole time, and they never showed up, but my old man was sitting there coaching me the whole time on how to do proper things, and I will remember that to the day I die, that's for sure.
We used to go and do a lot of deer hunting together. He got me into bow hunting. A lot of those memories can't really be taken away from you when you're a young person and you're in the outdoors and you share those memories with the folks that mean a lot to you. It stays with you. I'm an avid deer hunter to this day, and I owe that to my grandpa.
What is your favorite childhood memory of being in the outdoors?
It was my time as a Boy Scout, as a Webelow.
My dad had us involved in Boy Scouts.
As in Cub Scouts?
I remember we spent a lot of time around campfires, sharpening sticks with our Boy Scout knives, and making little bows and arrows, and it's really fun.
And my favorite outdoor experience had to be when we went to Philmont. It was just amazing, and just very blessed to have that opportunity and to really be out there purifying your own water and hanging the bear bag and making sure you're not going to get mauled at night, you know.
I remember doing, it was a tree plant, so we went out camping, one of my dad. We basically scaled some BLM and just started planting some little trees that we had, and I just remember having a lot of fun doing that, being outdoors, hiking around, and replenishing trees, creating some new growth.
Being in Boy Scouts, going on my backpacking trips, and then also taking my boys on backpacking trips as they got older.
We spent a lot of times out in the woods when I was a kid, and if I had to pick maybe a time or an event, I'd say
making fires in the evening would probably be my favorite kind of task, maybe. Just, you know, hanging out with the family, splitting kindling, starting a fire.
A friend of mine and I, we had ridden our bikes to the pond.
A canoe trip I took with 4 friends.
We were out fishing for a little bluegill crappie, and was tying on the lure, went to tie it on and put the hook into my finger. Still have the scar from it. So that stays with me forever. That was like sort of a little fun little times. It's like, had to ride my bike home, my finger sticking up like this with the hook in it, because I didn't know how to get it out.
Just after spring thaw, so all the water was extremely high. In the first, no joke, probably the first 30 seconds of our canoe trip, the entire canoe was ankle deep, if not knee deep, in water. So a trip that usually took about 2.5 hours on a stream where I grew up took us about 40 minutes, including all of us getting dumped out at the end of the trip, running or kind of swimming over the land, and then since it was spring, that's when all the black rat snakes were active and moving, and so we had a massive run-in with what's a group of rat snakes? A flock of rat snakes. So that would be one of my favorite memories. I like to tell that story a lot.
Me and my parents and my 2 sisters, we went hiking in one of the mountains in Taiwan.
I remember taking these multi-hour trips with my parents.
Being out with the family, being out with my dad and my brothers.
And that was the first time I hiked in the rain, and it was really muddy and really afraid of sliding up the hill. Like for my sisters, they were crying because it was really slippery, and we had to walk along like a very tiny trail. So that was kind of scary, but very memorable.
In Poland, we've got a lot of history in the mountains. Over there was shelters and there was abbeys and churches and things. So I remember going on these rainy days, going between these shelters and having different foods and meeting different people and sort of learning the history of these places.
You know, the fishing trips, hunting trips. You know, I design knives now that bring me back to that childhood memory of the area where we first started hunting, and you know, and I'm designing knives that you know, bring that back.
And so everything that I did as a kid was out in the woods, playing around coal banks, playing around coal mines, things that scare me to death as a father now that we did as kids, and our parents had no idea what we were doing.